In this video, you will learn why you shouldn't pay off your real estate loan as soon as possible, especially if we're talking about buying and renting out. And here's why. So let's say you buy one apartment for 200,000. So you have 4% interest currently, more or less, and you have typically 2% amortization rate. So the repayment rate of the loan without the interest, okay? Because interest is money for the bank and amortization is just you are repaying the loan. So in total, you have 6% mortgage payments. 6% out of 200 is 12. So we have 12,000 euros mortgage payments annually. So 1,000 euros per month. Now let's say you have a rent of, in the beginning, let's say 700 euros per month. So you have 300 euros out of your own pocket, at least until the rent is increased. So now you could even do 5% so-called, in German, Sondertilgung, which is special payment or unscheduled payment. So 5% of the loan amount can be done as an unscheduled payment just to finish the loan faster. It doesn't have to be 5%, it might also be 1, 2, 3, 4, but more than 5% is typically not possible. So why shouldn't you do this 5% unscheduled payment, and why you also shouldn't do 2% amortization rate, okay? What's more beneficial would be if you have 200,000 loan, this obviously remains the same. You have 4% interest, 1% amortization, so 5% in total. So now you have 10,000 euros. So now we have 833. So you have 130 euros more. You still have 700 euros rent. So you have only 133 euros out of your own pocket per month, for example. So now you save 170 euros just by repaying the loan not that fast. Okay? Now you say, well, at a certain point I need to finish the loan. Yes, true, but now what you do is the following. If the bank is giving you money for 4% and you buy and rent out, so you have 4% interest, but the interest is fully tax deductible if you buy and rent out. So let's say your tax rate is 42%. Now the net interest you pay is 2.3 something. Okay? Well, you need to pay 2.3%, but now what you could do is you could just invest money with, for example, 6 to 9% profit annually on average. So why should you give money to the bank to finish the loan? What you could do now, for example, you only have 133 euros here, so you have 170 euros roughly more. So we have plus 170 euros per month. Now you invest that money into ETFs, for example, mutual funds. So you generate 6 to 9% on these 170 euros every month. Okay, now you could also say, yeah, but I would like to finish a loan earlier. Okay, this is not the problem. You use the 5% or something around 5%, and you also invest that money here. If you do it this way, you are typically 2 to 4 years faster. Because in the end, you repay the loan with 1% and simultaneously you build wealth, and you could obviously decide in the end if you just close the loan with that money you have saved. But now you have the flexibility, you still have the security because you have the fundings, plus you also have significantly higher returns, which would mean that you could finish the loan earlier in the end. Okay, and this is a pretty common mistake that people do when we talk about buying and renting out. If we're talking home ownership, especially with higher interest rates, then it might make sense to do the 5% unscheduled payment. There are also better solutions in my opinion. And obviously to have the 2% amortization rate, because typically you also have a higher loan, so higher interest on the higher loan, compounding. There it makes sense to finish the loan directly, okay, or might make sense. But if we're talking about buying and renting out, you shouldn't do that. Now, my opinion. Let's say you finish the loan not in 25 years as usual, you finish the loan in 15 years. But now you have, let's say, 1,000 euros passive income, but do you already retire at that point? Do you already need that money at that point? Because think it through, you have 2,000 euros passive income now. What do? Well, probably you just invest that money. So if you do it anyway, then it makes sense to invest it up front already. What do I mean by that? You saved 170 euros, okay? By finishing the loan not that fast. Why don't you just buy a second property now, where you also have, let's say, 2 times 133, but now you end up in retirement, for example, having 2 apartments. And your budget is probably not just 266 euros, what you could save on a monthly basis, probably not in the future. So you could just buy more and more properties, and then in the end, you finish the loans, but you end up having 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 apartments. So, and now, why is it not a problem to finish a loan not that fast? Because, let's go up here. You have 133 euros out of your own pocket. Now you typically just need one increase of the rent. If you increase the rent once, which you could do every 3 years by 15 to 20%, depends on the city, then typically after 3 years you don't pay anything anymore for your apartment. So what you could do is you buy 2 apartments up front with 133 euros. 3 years later, you buy again apartments for 133 euros each, and so on. And if you say, okay, now I'm done with buying real estate because I already have 8 apartments and this is sufficient to have a good retirement for also my spouse, and also my children are now safe because they can inherit 8 apartments, or if you have 2 children, 4 each, let's say, all good. If you are at that point, you are starting to finish the loans faster. But then you already have 8 apartments in place. And this is significantly more beneficial for you in comparison to finishing one loan as soon as possible. And then you have at age 50 or 45, 1 apartment, the mortgage is finished, you're still working, and you're just keeping the passive income in the stock market. Yeah. Okay. I guess the point is clear now. So now you see how important it is to have a good strategy here to buy many properties, to create an extensive real estate portfolio, so you're actually able to achieve any financial goal. If you would like to have such a real estate strategy, and if you would like to have the knowledge so you can actually achieve your financial goals by investing in real estate, feel free to register for a free initial consultation, and we can talk in the next few days to each other to see how we can possibly help you, specifically in your situation. Take care and talk to you soon.